We can talk the whole day how good note-taking and personal knowledge management are. But can you show it? So in today's video, I want to show the benefits of note-taking and personal knowledge management to improve mental clarity. Let's check it out. Mental clarity is by far the most obvious benefits of personal knowledge management. The mere act of writing down our thoughts already provides some clarity. But in this video, I want to show a live coaching session that we had as part of my mentorship program, where we want to go a little bit beyond just writing our thoughts, okay? So we are using what I call the follow the flow methodology, where the first step is to express our thoughts, okay? Because our knowledge only exists inside of our minds. It's not in our quotes, it's not in our highlights, not in any of our sources. Our knowledge only exists inside of our minds. So if you don't express it, it's nowhere to be seen, okay? So the first step in the methodology is to write everything down. And that we have gone through that process already in this coaching session. Now the second step is to get that knowledge that we have expressed and make sense of it. So we make sense by organizing our ideas. It's not organizing our notes, okay? It's not to decide which tag we use for each note or in which folder we'll save them. It's not about that. The idea is how can we organize our ideas? Because by creating connection between our ideas, organize what we mean, what are the things that we mean when you are writing, okay? When you make sense of those, that's when you start, okay, I know what it wants to say. So that brings much more clarity of mind because we are building coherence between our ideas, okay? So in this live coaching session, Saloni wrote down everything she wants for the motivation of her PhD thesis, and we are going together breaking down what are the ideas that she has in her text and how those ideas connect to each other. What does she mean by each idea? So let's see together how we can use personal knowledge management to improve clarity of mind. It's like we have the feeling that there is something else. And the reason why I say we have the feeling that there is something else, and it's like, can I say that this sentence is a description of this idea? It was fascinating and evocative given my less interest in ecosophy. You know, it's not a description, but it's related because I say, well, ecological civilization, the topic itself is interesting to me. It's fascinating, evocative, given my latest interest in ecosophy. So there is a relation between them, but it's not really a description of that. So there's something more going on here. So we can decide at this moment just to live like this is a decision. Okay, I'll live like this and maybe come back one day in the future this note and work on this idea. Or you can have a note, there is a relationship between ecological civilization and ecosophy. And then this whole thing here, which you could name if you want, just ecological civilization and ecosophy, if you prefer like that. Just what's the relationship between them? And I can see there is a relationship between ecological civilization and ecosophy. If you didn't write here, we may not want to go into that idea, explore more, but as you create an object of attention, it becomes a card, especially an empty one. It's kind of like, okay, I can think more about that. That can become the focus of my attention. Whereas in that sentence before, the relationship itself was not a focus of attention. It gets like, okay, just a description. It's just something that appears there. But as you create an object of attention as a card, then that becomes an idea that you can focus on, you can describe, you can think more about.
It's very helpful. I would have definitely ignored this loop, and I feel this is a very, very important loop to explore, because I think this can be my, like, this is where my conceptual framework would stand.
And then again, well, do I want environmental and ecological discourse to be an idea? I don't remember if you have added that as an idea yourself. You can choose, well, maybe this is an object of attention, or maybe not. Or maybe environmental discourse is one object of attention, and ecological discourse is another one. It depends on what you want to make an object of attention. Not everything needs to be, okay?
Because I will be talking about environmental discourses and ecological discourses, but then in different segments, like in a different chapter. So if I'm doing this, I'm breaking down this motivation section, free writing, then how should I approach this? Because like right now my goal is to break down motivation section free writing for the, say, literature review.
Mhm. I would say
So
if you know that is something that you'll be focusing on, you'll be discussing more, then I'll say create them.
okay.
Create them as idea notes. Yeah. Because you see they start to appear over and over again, and as you are writing and this ecological discourse appears again on what you are saying, you are already linking to that. So if you know that this is something you care about, you want to think more about, and you definitely will think more about, then I would say create the notes then. But if it's something that is just like, I'm just saying, but I don't actually care about it, I don't want to think more about it, I don't want to focus on it, then you can leave as a text. Just there's a relationship between ecological civilization, dystopia, Anthropocene. I'm just mentioning here, I don't want to focus on it. Or I want to focus on the fact that ecological civilization redefine human values, and that would be the claim. Or you want to be very specific, ecological civilization redefine human values in the dystopian Anthropocene. And then that would be the whole claim, and then you need to focus on the claim, explain the claim.
I didn't even realize that there's a claim there both the times. And it's an important claim. Both of these claims are very important.
So you can see like one paragraph, there's a lot going on in one paragraph. Because our mind is just like, oh yeah, there's some ideas here. It doesn't feel they have much value. But when you start to explore each sentence, what is in each thing, then you start to see there are a lot of ideas here. And some of those ideas, as you said, Saloni, they are the core for your work, for your research. So you need to have like piece of evidence for some of those claims. A claim can become a full paper if you decide to work on it. So, and this was like, this was just a quick reflection on my motivation. There's like that big things here, So that's why I
Yes.
like sentence by sentence.
In fact, I was stuck on the conceptual framework for the literature review, but now there's just so much that has come through this. So, yeah, thank you.
So this discourse, people who work with this discourse, they tend to focus on this idea with a connection between those two things. How can you name that connection? How can you name that thing? And make that the focus of your attention. But if you make that the focus of attention, that becomes an object of attention that you want to talk about, that you want to express to others, and you can give it a name,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
yes.
so even when you publish papers, it's like, okay, I'm focusing on this and I'm naming, ta-da, this is my new name for this topic, and this is my literature review on this topic with everything that people have said about marrying nature and culture and the different aspects of it. And now you have created, that's how like new research topics are created or new branches of research are created, because someone took something that everyone kind of talks about, but no one actually names as a thing. And they say, this is my object of study now, and I'm giving this a name that now people can refer to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it has just sent me in a different direction altogether because I
Is it
was
good or
stuck.
bad? Okay.
It is very, very good. Thank you so much.
So in this coaching session, you could see that by organizing her ideas and not her notes, Saloni could get some clarity of mind regarding her work. First, we could note that she was focusing on a relationship between ideas. You can have a note. There is a relationship between ecological civilization and philosophy. And by making that relationship our focus of attention, we can reflect more about it, we can search more work about it, we can learn more about that specific relationship. Because relationships in personal knowledge management, they are not just an arrow in the screen or a link between two nodes. They are something that you can focus on and they can have their own card. Then after it, she started preparing for the future. She noticed two ideas that are key to her work and they will become full chapters later on.
Because I will be talking about environmental discourses and ecological discourses, but then in different segments, like in a different chapter.
So now she can create a note about them, even if the note is empty, so that as she's reading a source, as she's doing her work, that idea starts popping up over and over again. So she can start linking to those notes And then when it's time to reflect about the idea itself, she has all the context around that idea that will support writing about the idea itself. So even if the note starts empty, it is important because through the links, over time, in her work, she'll build what the idea means. Then after that, Saloni noticed that she was making claims.
I didn't even realize that there's a claim there.
And in certain works, it's very important to learn which claims you are making, because you may need to back them up with data, back them up with information to show I'm not just making a claim out of my opinion, I'm making a claim that makes sense, okay? So it's very important. In her case, it was a research, it's a PhD thesis. She really needs to know which claims she is making and how then she can back up those claims. And last, which is I find the most exciting part, is when you start noticing something in the work and then you can give that a name. It becomes an idea itself and you can give it a name, you know.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We note something, in her case, a relationship between two ideas, becomes the focus of her attention and she can give it a name. And by giving it a name, it makes much easier to communicate to others, and other people start using the name that she gave to refer to that idea, even when the idea is somewhat around the work, is around the discipline that she's already working on. With these examples, you could see how a simple paragraph that she just wrote with some ideas of the things you want to work on, when we start to extract for the ideas, try to organize those ideas, how they relate to each other, what they are, how can we name them, then we can have much more clarity of mind, and that can be the lead for the whole work. I hope you have enjoyed this live coaching session. If you have any question or anything you'd like to learn more, just leave me a comment. I always like to answer all the comments. I may take a little bit of time, but I always answer them. And I hope to see you in the next video.